from the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight as we get you ready for the Cincinnati Bengals this week. Pretty exciting matchup, 2 7-6 teams. The Bengals are actually sitting ahead of the Denver Broncos and the pecking order there for the playoffs. So starting with the Broncos, okay? I want to take it from there because we're going to have a couple shows on the Cincinnati Bengals over the next couple of days. But I want to start with, from the Broncos, what are some things based on what they've built up to this point? Because we can't say everything you had success against Detroit is going to work against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're a better defense, much better offense. But what the Broncos did on offense, we'll start there, and what they built to this point. What are you hoping they're able to accomplish in this game?
Well, you have to be able to run the football. That is the Denver Broncos' bread and butter, and you're going to have to be able to run the football against the Cincinnati Bengals, whose defense is a lot better than people think it is. In fact, it's better than their offense. Everybody talks about the Bengals' offense and those receivers and Joe Burrow, but the reality is their defense is what's carrying this football team. They're opportunistic. They play aggressively. So there are going to be opportunities. I think if the Broncos are going to have to pick and choose their battles, I think you want to practice some double move stuff because there's a lot of man coverage out there. And I think that's probably, if you're a Broncos fan, if you're looking at game plan for the Bengals, that's probably how you do it.
So the Broncos are 11th in the league in rushing, averaging 123 yards per game. The Bengals rushing per game, they are 4th on defense. They only give up 93 yards per game. They're really good up front. And that's the biggest thing when you notice with the Cincinnati Bengals when you watch them is their defensive front is super stout. Their back end, I think that there's some opportunities. So I guess if you're Pat Shurmur, this might be the game. If the Cincinnati Bengals are going to load up the box, you got to take advantage of that. You're going to have to hit them up over top. This is where, I hate to say that I was right, but this is where I've wanted to see the Broncos develop a bit more of their passing game because this is the kind of team that worries me for the Broncos.
Well, I want to see them develop against this team. I don't want to see them roll the carpet out on the Lions and then not have anything in the tank for the Bengals. So I'd like to see a little bit more passing, but I think the balance is where the Broncos need it if you look over the last couple of weeks, and that is heavily favoring the run. I think you're going to get a heavy dose of Melvin Gordon again because Melvin gets you positive yardage, and then you're going to look at in plus EV situations. Then you put the ball in Javante's hands and see if he can bust one. And I think that the Broncos have circled the drain on that for long enough. Last couple of weeks, they started to figure it out in terms of how to use these guys instead of just making it a split. It's how to use these guys situationally, and it's been working for them.
So our guy Tim Jenkins put out a video breakdown. He has his YouTube channel, All Things QB. I invite people to check it out. He did a breakdown on how he thinks the Broncos continue to be a very stout running game, have that ability to go up there and still win in that, and still also have a little bit of effectiveness in the pass. And it really has to do with reading the safeties and having multiple plays called when they get to the line. He gave an example on one of his videos of where Teddy Bridgewater came up, and it was obviously they had set up a pass based on the formation, based on the players that were out there. But he saw the safeties. They were in cover 2, closed field, I believe, if I remember correctly. No, it's field open.
It's cover 2. It's middle field open.
Middle field open. And he went kill, and they went to a run game, and they ended up getting 9 yards on that. So maybe that's a little bit of where we see kind of this offense start to take advantage of other teams, especially if they're going to play them in the run.
Well, anytime you come to the line of scrimmage, you have 3 plays called. You have the primary play call. You have a check. You have a run play call if it's a light box, if everybody's bailing. And then you've got an additional pass play call dependent on reading the safeties, whether it is middle of field open or closed. If it's an even coverage, cover 2, cover 4, cover 6, that's going to be middle of the field open. If it's an odd number, then 0, 1, 3 is going to be in middle field closed. And so you come to the line, you read the safeties, you figure out what that is, and you check to whatever you need to, and then you go from there. There's also concept. There's going to be a front side and backside concept on the play that's going to be middle field open, middle field closed, just in case you read it wrong. So each play is going to have a primary and a secondary concept, and that's why sometimes in these screenshots you see guys open on the backside of play. It's not even in the pattern sometimes. It's not even the concept you're working, and that's why a lot of this stuff that you see out there on Twitter and stuff, these guys that claim to grind the tape and have no idea what they're talking about, it gets a little irritating sometimes. But yes, that is how you do it, and that's the Bengals are primarily a 2-deep man under team. That's basically what they do, but they'll mix it up. It's not the only thing they run, and they are aggressive. They will send people after the quarterback. So if you're the Broncos, you're going to have your hots. You're going to have to have your side adjusts. You're going to have everything on point this week, and you should be working on those kinds of things to make sure that your passing game doesn't get snowed under and get sacked because Teddy Bridgewater Gets sacked a lot.
He gets sacked a lot. The Broncos are 23rd in the league, and the Bengals are the second best team in the league at getting sacks. It's a little bit of their formula. They have some explosive plays on offense, and they stop the run. They get sacks. They put teams behind the chains. So in a lot of ways, the Bengals are a really bad matchup, especially there offensively for the Broncos.
To me, this is the week you deploy the running back screen game. If a team is great at sending guys at you, they play a lot of man and they send guys at you, run the screen. Start running the screen, man. Put the pass rush back on its heels because they're getting upfield fast and you're putting the ball right over the top of them. They're going to go back on their heels and try to make sure they got to take that away. And the Broncos have not been a screen team under Pat Shurmur, which is weird because they used to be almost exclusively a Pat Shurmur when he had Case Keenum up there in Minnesota. So it's it's kind of interesting to see what Pat Shurmur is not doing and what he has not deployed. You got to figure that's coming soon. You got to figure the screen game is coming soon because this is the team to deploy it on.
One of the things that I have enjoyed about the Broncos and they struggled against the Chiefs, but offensively, they've started to curb some of these numbers. They were in the red. They were some of the worst teams in the league at third down, red zone percentage. Oh, they're in top 20 now. Mm-hmm. And playing the Detroit Lions will help a little bit with that. You were 5 for 5 in the red zone, and you were 8 for 12 on third down. So you're buoyed a little bit. But again, you're talking over 13 games now. You're a top 20 team. If the Broncos are going to have success down the stretch here, the offense has to continue with those trends.
Yeah, they've got to pick it up. Not just continue, but pick it up. You're 3/4 of the way through the season and in the bottom third of the league in most of these crucial numbers. And so, you've been able to run the ball effectively. You need to keep doing that, but you need to do it and make sure that you're converting into situations that you're doing that. Defensively, you're the third best defense in the league in terms of allowing points, but 14th in the league in yardage, which means the bend don't break is working. So as long as that's continuing to work, you're playing bend don't break. Your opponents are having to eat some of the clock too. If you can eat the clock on offense, you can play this game the way you want to.
All right. So it's Bengals week. Spent a lot of time on the offense. On our next breakdown, we will go into the defensive matchup against Joe Burrow and all those offensive weapons. For Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.